Trying to pass it up to Dowling, and there's the pass to Dowling. Dowling going to take a shot. Audrey Keener across to Keyser. Keyser shot in.
Champions Conference game coming up right now. It's the semifinals. For Power Soccer Shop, I'm Tony Jackson. Arizona Heat, Boston Breakers. And Ed McGuire for the Heat taking this kick. Steve Hirsch blocks off that ball. That ball off of Trujillo. I think McGuire was under the impression that it went off Hirsch. But now a kick in coming up for Boston. Pellegrino down to Ramirez Tapia and Gabe Trujillo with the ball. Pellegrino sends it out of play. McGuire, Pellegrino, and Trujillo going to hold on to that ball. Trujillo circling around. Pellegrino takes it away. And now McGuire. Arizona Heat in what was probably the longest match in United States Power Soccer history. They played against the Chippewa Valley Hooligans last night and were scoreless for 125 minutes. That is just over 3 full matches. And at that point, batteries are dying, and eventually Chippewa Valley Hooligans managed to find a breakthrough goal and win it. But again, 125 minutes is difficult for any power soccer athlete. I mean, fatigue sets in at some point, and I know we're not running out here as you would in stand-up soccer, but when you're driving those chairs, it can take energy out of you. And not only that, the mental fatigue as well. So credit to both those teams for being out here and ready for that game this morning. I think that game didn't end until well after 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock last night. So they're back out here roughly 12 hours later. Now Jake Bell, the keeper for the Heat, takes the ball. Jake Bell and McGuire, former teammates on the Minnesota Shockwave, now teammates in Arizona. On the other courts, Court 2, Lakeshore Power, Northeast Passage Wildcats. Both teams looking for their first victory. On Court 3, the aforementioned Chippewa Valley Hooligans taking on the PRHC Chariots. And now Pellegrino meeting up with Jake Bell. No one in the box for the Heat. Now Gabe Trujillo goes into the area. That ball is out of play. Kick in coming up for the Heat. Court 4, Minnesota Northern Lights, Atlanta Sting. Now that ball sent out of play by Trujillo. Back on. 2-on-1 violation on the Boston Breakers, an indirect free kick coming up from a prime location just outside the Breakers goal area. So indirect free kick, Arizona Heat. McGuire over to Trujillo off of Ramirez Tapia. That ball slowly rolls out of play. That ball rolls out off of McGuire. Ramirez Tapia sends that out of play. Pellegrino getting around Jake Bell. Pellegrino looking to pass to Hirsch. He waited just a little too long. Ramirez Tapia there. Hirsch trying to get around Trujillo. McGuire now. Pellegrino, McGuire. That ball off of Pellegrino. Now, if you've been watching since day one, or excuse me, at least day two, when the Boston Breakers were here on court one, 2-on-1 violation on Boston. You saw that Joe DePiece for the Boston Breakers was injured in that match. He took a ball to the leg, and you don't see him out here because he is done for the tournament. The injury a little bit worse than he was hoping for, and he's just simply unable to play. It's a big loss for the Boston Breakers. That ball off of Ramirez Tapia. And the referee says it's going to be a set ball. And that ball out of play off of Ramirez Tapia. That ball once again off of Ramirez Tapia, but pushing back the Heat a little bit further towards their own goal area. And substitution for the Arizona Heat coming out of the match. Doug White coming into the match. Eric Jocelyn. And Hirsch can't control the ball, so kick in coming up again for the Heat. Then McGuire trying to get that ball into the Boston goal area. Nicely done, McGuire, to earn a kick in for the Heat. And now Jake Bell has come up in a forward position. Eric Jocelyn taking a place in the goal. Trujillo, McGuire winds up for another kick. McGuire off of Ramirez Tapia. Close to a 2-on-1 violation on the Heat. McGuire sends that one out. He wasn't going to be able to control it, so he sends it out, keeping Boston as far back as they can. McGuire sends that ball out of play. Pellegrino with a 180 spin kick gives the Heat a kick in. On court 2, Lakeshore Power Northeast Passage Wildcats scoreless. Court 3, PRHC Chariots 1, Chippewa Valley Hooligans 0. And on court 4, Atlanta Sting 1, Minnesota Northern Lights 0. And that ball off of Pellegrino. And so Arizona Heat on the attack again. Ramirez Tapia sends the ball towards the Heat goal area. Jake Bell comes up to make a play on it. Close to a 2-on-1. The referee held on to his whistle. Ramirez Tapia tries to take a shot. That ball off of Trujillo. And now the Boston Breakers with a chance. Ramirez Tapia preparing for the kick. Comes across Pellegrino with a shot. Saved by Trujillo. And now Gabe Trujillo trying to push Pellegrino out. Hirsch. Trujillo with the ball. Pellegrino. That is out of play off of Trujillo. Pellegrino just wide of the post, and so goal kick coming up for the Heat. Pellegrino over to Ramirez Tapia, back to Pellegrino. Pellegrino trying to get around Trujillo. He gets the ball behind him, and now Pellegrino breaking down the floor. Trujillo trying to turn him around. Pellegrino can't keep the ball under control, so the Heat will kick in. Pellegrino over to Hirsch. Hirsch tried to get it back to Pellegrino, but it's cut off by Trujillo. Pellegrino tried to keep it in, but again, just couldn't get his guard around the ball. And McGuire just misses that off the post. McGuire rips a shot. Eric Jocelyn nearly scores. see that again. Pellegrino sent it right up the middle, and Eric Jocelyn almost there. McGuire off of Ramirez Tapia. McGuire over to Trujillo. That's close to a 2-on-1 on Boston, but the whistle stays silent. Now Trujillo. There's the halftime whistle. Scoreless through 20 minutes. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the second half, you're watching the 2019 USPSA MK Battery Conference Cup Series. Both teams looking for their first goal. Second half underway here. Arizona Heat, Boston Breakers. On court 2, they're about to begin the second half. Northeast Passage Wildcats lead Lakeshore Power 1-0. On court 3, PRHC Chariots lead the Chippewa Valley Hooligans 2-0. And it looks like there was just a goal scored by the Chariots over there. So now that score 3-0. And on court 4, Sting leading the Northern Lights 1-0. McGuire, Trujillo, that ball off the back of his chair. Goal kick, Boston Breakers. And attempted pass by Pellegrino gives Gabe Trujillo an opportunity to work against the Boston defense, but another goal kick coming up. Trujillo tries to get it over to McGuire, but it's a little too far away. McGuire sends that one back out again. That ball off of McGuire. So another kick in coming up for Boston. Atlanta Sting score again. It's 2-0 over the Northern Lights. McGuire seeking out Trujillo between two Boston defenders. Now, referee Dave Macy calls a 2-on-1 violation on Boston. Trujillo redirects that ball into the area. Pellegrino clears. McGuire, Pellegrino, Jim Weiss. That ball goes off of him. Trujillo dragging the ball around. Pellegrino's got it. And lots of contact in that Boston goal area. Pellegrino clears it. Jake Bell can't get to it. Hirsch. Jim Weiss. Over to Hirsch. McGuire. Jim Weiss passes the ball, but no one there to collect it. Now Pellegrino steps in. 2-on-1 violation. Pellegrino just trying to get everybody in place. Ramirez Tapia tries to go across to Hirsch, but slams into the back of McGuire. Now Pellegrino misses that ball and it rolls out. Goal kick coming up. And some that ball off of Ramirez Tapia. Oh, McGuire had an opportunity, but I don't think he was ready for that ball to get past Ramirez Tapia. So Pellegrino, Ramirez Tapia, down the floor it goes. Hirsch with the ball. Steve Hirsch now taking on Jake Bell. Bell out to McGuire. McGuire tries to get it down the floor. Hirsch keeps it in play. And now Ramirez Tapia with a shot saved by Trujillo. That ball out of play. Corner kick coming up. Pellegrino, where is he going to go with it? Right into the defense. Ramirez Tapia almost scores. Hirsch. That ball deflected off of Trujillo. Atlanta and Sting have opened things up. It's now 3-0 over the Northern Lights. Pellegrino off of Ramirez Tapia. And that ball is heading the wrong way, so Ramirez Tapia has to turn things around. Pellegrino now working against Trujillo. That ball across to Ramirez Tapia, back to Pellegrino. Pellegrino needs to save it before it rolls out of play, and he can't quite get it. He's almost there. And Ramirez Tapia sends that out of play. Another kick in coming up. for the Heat. And the substitution for the Heat, Mark Harden coming out. Doug White coming back on. That ball off of Trujillo. Pellegrino saves it. If he had let that go out, it would have been a goal kick for the Breakers. Now, Breakers will get a kick in. That ball rolling off of Trujillo. And now the Breakers looking to get this ball down the other end of the floor. And a slow roller. And Ramirez Tapia was trying to just bump the ball and force McGuire to do something with it, but it tailed off and went out of play. Now White going into the goal area. Jake Bell, the designated keeper, attacking the far post. That ball all the way across Jake Bell. And Bell bounces it off of Hirsch. Ramirez Tapia shields the ball away from McGuire, but McGuire trying to turn him around. That ball off of McGuire. Hirsch into the Heat goal area. That ball is out of play. Deep kick in for the Heat. And Trujillo gets the ball around Ramirez Tapia, but can't keep the ball in play. Now, Pellegrino touched that ball before it went out, and so the Heat actually benefit from that and going to take another kick in closer to the Boston goal area. And Ramirez Tapia tried to get it away from Trujillo, but Trujillo couldn't keep it in play. On court 2, Northeast Passage Wildcats 3, Lakeshore Power 0. Pellegrino still working on Trujillo. Ramirez Tapia tried to get it behind Trujillo. That ball out of play. Kicking Breakers on court 3. PRHC Chariots, Chippewa Valley Hooligans. Chariots up 4-0. Trujillo, that ball bouncing off of Trujillo. That ball kicked out by Trujillo. Ramirez Tapia was waiting right for it. Ramirez Tapia with a shot off of Trujillo. Corner kick for the Breakers. Pellegrino going to take this kick. Hirsch waiting at the far post. Ramirez Tapia at the near post. Ramirez Tapia with a shot, saved. Ramirez Tapia didn't have the angle on that, even if he made contact with the ball. Pellegrino, Ramirez Tapia, the pass back out to Pellegrino. And Trujillo backs into Pellegrino. And a direct free kick coming up for Boston. This is pretty far from the goal area, so they're probably going to have to employ at least one pass if they want to score. Hirsch can't get to that ball, so goal kick coming up for the Heat. Two-on-one violation on Boston. McGuire decides to throw it right into the defense, and now Trujillo attacking. Gabe Trujillo. Doug White waiting at the far post. McGuire. Oh, and Trujillo sends it out. Tried to kick it out to McGuire, but he was angled a little bit too far. So Boston Breakers now going to take the kick. That ball still rolling down the touchline, and Hirsch can't get to it. He needed to get on the other side of the ball so that way he could cradle it with his chair, or at least let it roll past him a little bit and then take a shot towards the goal area. Ramirez Tapia backing up and also can't control that ball, so another goal kick coming up for the Heat. Ramirez Tapia across to Hirsch. Hirsch, that ball gets past him. Pellegrino. Trujillo now splits the Boston defenders. Ramirez Tapia winds up for a shot, but he spun a little too soon and sent that ball well wide. We're in added time in this match, and still neither team have scored. Ramirez Tapia sends that ball out. Ramirez Tapia with the ball, trying to get around Jake Bell. And then Ramirez Tapia lets it go. But that ball wasn't rolling fast enough to get to Hirsch. And so now Jake Bell just pulling the ball out of the area. Now Jake Bell with it. And Jake Bell the last to touch that ball. And contact, and the full-time whistle is blown. And so we are going to go into overtime. So we'll keep it right here. And the Heat are familiar with this situation, but I'm sure they're hoping that the game doesn't go another 125 minutes today. Both teams really struggling to score here. They've had a couple opportunities, but again, they're just not able, neither team really, able to find that elusive goal. So we're going to play 2 5-minute overtime sessions. And if there's still no score, we'll go to the golden goal, and we'll play 10-minute sessions of that until someone scores. So all the other matches are over on Court 2. Northeast Passage Wildcats get their first win. They beat Lakeshore Power 3-0. On Court 3, PRHC Chariots moving on to the next round. They win 4-0, and Atlanta Sting beat the Minnesota Northern Lights 3-0. overtime here. This battle for 5th place. And we're scoreless at the moment. Again, if you're just joining us, the Arizona Heat played a marathon game against the Chippewa Valley Hooligans last night. And that match went 125 minutes. And if you think about the fact that power soccer matches just in regulation are 40 minutes, Arizona Heat played 3 games, and Ed McGuire almost with a goal. Let's watch that again. Jim Weiss with the front of his guard keeps the Boston Breakers alive. And you see that ball ricocheting between his guard and the post. And now McGuire going to try to see if him and his teammates can end this here. McGuire, Trujillo, shot, save, Pellegrino. And that ball out of play for a Boston goal kick. Ramirez Tapia gets around Jake Bell. And now the pass to Pellegrino. Matt Pellegrino. That ball intended for Hirsch, but it's cut off by Trujillo. Now the Boston Breakers will try to take a lead here. Now, even if they score, the match will still go this full 10-minute overtime session. So we'll see what happens here. Hirsch. A little fake spin move. Steve Hirsch going across. Pellegrino with a shot saved by Trujillo. And McGuire now breaking down the floor one-on-one with Jim Weiss. Ramirez Tapia can't get in the box. That is a 3-in-the-box violation on Boston. There's also a 2-on-1 because Ramirez Tapia, not the goalkeeper. But the referee missed both calls. And so now we're going to have a set ball outside the goal area. And I think Coach Jim Farrow trying to figure out how the referees missed both violations out there. Now the Arizona Heat will take the ball again. Trujillo. Jake Bell trying to rotate out of the way. That ball off of Trujillo. And the referee's undecided, so they're going to play a set ball. McGuire wins that set ball and hits it off of Ramirez Tapia out of play. And now McGuire looking to take a quick kick, but a little too quick and a little too much pace. Trujillo couldn't handle it, so Ramirez Tapia going to take the kick for the Breakers. And Pellegrino trying to get around McGuire. That's close to a 2-on-1 violation. Pellegrino pushing. Pellegrino looking to take a shot, but he just hesitated too much. And that is the end of the first 5-minute session. So teams will switch sides and will restart play. Pellegrino sends that one wide of the Heat goal. San Jose Steamrollers, Tampa Thunder, Circle City Rollers, all waiting in the staging area at the moment. And there's contact by Trujillo. Play continues. Pellegrino, Trujillo, that ball off of Pellegrino. That ball deflected and now out of play, and a foul on Ramirez Tapia. And a 2-on-1 violation on the Arizona Heat will give the Boston Breakers an indirect free kick. Pellegrino in the area. That ball off of Trujillo. Ramirez Tapia looking for Hirsch. That ball all the way across behind Hirsch. Hirsch really couldn't do much with it. He had to back up as the ball was coming in. Pellegrino misses that 180 spin kick. Now Doug White driving into the area. White, can he score the goal for the Heat? Time winding down here. White, that ball springs loose. Lots of contact in the goal area. And the referee says Arizona Heat will take this kick in. McGuire off of Pellegrino. Hirsch takes that ball and he gets it down the floor, but he can't redirect it close enough to the goal area, but he's going to catch up to it. Trujillo trying to turn Hirsch. Hirsch strips that ball away, and that ball rolls right into Jake Bell. That's got to be a 2-on-1 violation. Pellegrino and Hirsch just way too close together. the 10-minute mark of overtime. And unless somebody scores soon, you're going to head to golden goals. That ball comes out. Hirsch now coming up to make a play on it. McGuire sends it out. Ramirez Tapia across. That ball almost gets through. Now Ramirez Tapia turning the Heat defenders. Now Jake Bell driving the ball out of the area. And referee Dave Macy blows the whistle. So we're going to golden goal again. I think with this second consecutive golden goal, the Arizona Heat will probably have the all-time record for playing time in a tournament. So we'll just keep it right here for a few moments until both teams come back out. golden goals coming up right now. Arizona Heat playing their second golden goal match in a row. And Pellegrino kicks off before the referee's whistle, so they'll do it again. Pellegrino, not a lot of power on that, and Trujillo was able to pick that up easily. And a 2-on-1 violation, advantage called, but now that ball's out of play. McGuire all the way over to Trujillo. Now Jake Bell's got the ball. Bell still with the ball. Pellegrino trying to get around Jake Bell, and he does, but he doesn't get past Gabe Trujillo. And that ball's out of play. Again, the referee says it's going to be Boston ball. Give and go there. Ramirez Tapia across to Pellegrino. Pellegrino with a shot and a save by Jake Bell. He didn't get that one very cleanly, so it was bouncing around a little bit, and Jake Bell was able to hold on to it. Trujillo saves that ball before it goes over the touchline. Pellegrino, unfortunately, can't do the same. That ball still in play, and now it's out. Boston looking for that goal. Trujillo sends that out. That ball gets all the way across, and Steve Hirsch laid on it. Pellegrino tried to take that ball, and now Doug White trying to get to it before Ramirez Tapia does, but he can't get it, so Juan Ramirez Tapia passes over to Pellegrino. Hirsch with a 180 spin kick. That one just out of reach. Jake Bell well out of the goal area. If Hirsch were able to connect, that could have been a potential game winner. That ball rolls up on Trujillo. Set ball coming up. This is the first golden goal session. And again, the Arizona Heat played 125 minutes against the Chippewa Valley Hooligans last night. Ramirez Tapia. Pellegrino with the ball. Pellegrino backtracking, close to a 2-on-1 violation. Ball out of play. The referee says Boston ball. That ball off of McGuire. Pellegrino with a shot, saved by Trujillo. McGuire keeps that ball in play. Trujillo. The Arizona Heat coaches asking for a 2-on-1 violation. That ball still in play. It looked like it went out, but the match continues. And now Hirsch. Hirsch with an opportunity. Steve Hirsch, saved by Jake Bell. Jake Bell had to backtrack for that ball as he had come up and just got it off the corner of his guard. Hirsch almost ended this game. Pellegrino with a shot off of Trujillo. San Jose Steamrollers, Turnstone Flyers waiting. That ball off the Heat defense. Ramirez Tapia. Ramirez Tapia with a shot, saved by Jake Bell. Ramirez Tapia driving. That ball still on the touchline. And that is a corner kick. That ball looked like it went off of Juan Ramirez Tapia, but referee right there says it's a corner kick. So Boston Breakers looking to end this match. Can they do it right here? Gabe Trujillo sends that ball out. Pellegrino looking to go down to Ramirez Tapia, and there's a 180 spin kick that misses. Goal kick coming up. Pellegrino, too much pace for Ramirez Tapia. McGuire. Trujillo trying to get that ball away from Pellegrino. And the ball passed out, but Ramirez Tapia is going to take it. But Ramirez Tapia Tried to pass the ball, but couldn't latch onto it. McGuire. And that ball gets all the way through. Now Mark Harden is there for the Heat. Jim Weiss makes a play on it. McGuire. That ball across to Bell. Bell reacts a little bit late on it and has to stop the ball. That ball is out of play. Set ball. Pellegrino trying to push out, and that is the end of the the first golden goal session. We did play 10 minutes of overtime. So we march on. Pellegrino sends it out. Jake Bell holds on to it. That ball springs out, and a foul called on Bell. Trujillo sends that ball out of play. Eric Jocelyn was there, but he rotated out thinking that Trujillo was going to come up. Ramirez Tapia slides it over to Pellegrino. Oh, Ramirez Tapia absolutely slams into Gabe Trujillo. That has to be a yellow card. Ramirez Tapia had no idea he was there. And you see Gabe Trujillo, his just body shook by that contact. And Ramirez Tapia indeed issued a yellow card, and rightfully so. Now, he has to be careful, Ramirez Tapia, because if he does that again, he will be sent off, and Boston has no substitutes. Trujillo, 2-on-1 violation, but no whistle blown. That pass across, Ramirez Tapia. Jake Bell, aware that ball was rolling wide, just kind of sits firmly in place. Trujillo got it past Ramirez Tapia, but couldn't get it past Pellegrino. However, Matt Pellegrino had to send that ball out. McGuire, the pass across to Trujillo. Set ball. Ramirez Tapia is going to take it for Boston. Ed McGuire for the Heat. Ramirez Tapia wins. Ramirez Tapia trying to get around Trujillo. Trujillo heading back the other way. And now Ramirez Tapia takes the ball. And that's a 2-on-1 violation. Pellegrino, Ramirez Tapia. Ramirez Tapia would have been better served letting go of the ball and letting Pellegrino take over on defense, as Ramirez Tapia was getting dragged out of the area. So now McGuire, Ramirez Tapia off of Trujillo, and that ball up in the air, so another set ball coming up. McGuire. That ball bounces for Trujillo. Now Trujillo tracking down Pellegrino. Now Pellegrino turning Trujillo around. Trujillo kicks out to McGuire. McGuire stops that ball over to Trujillo. And Ramirez Tapia takes that ball away. Now Ramirez Tapia taking on Jake Bell. Ramirez Tapia and McGuire's in there. Now that's close to a 2-on-1 on Pellegrino and Ramirez Tapia. Now there's a shot saved. Now that ball deflects towards the goal line, but Trujillo able to pull it out. That ball kicked out. Ramirez Tapia bounces for McGuire, and McGuire can't get it. Pellegrino. Trujillo. Pellegrino. Now Trujillo heading back the other way, trying to push through Ramirez Tapia. Now Ramirez Tapia takes the ball. The pass to Pellegrino. Pellegrino blocked off of Trujillo, but the deflection comes back and hits Pellegrino. McGuire, Trujillo, Jim Weiss is there. Jim Weiss clears it out. Arizona Heat with a kick in coming up. Jake Bell up in attack. Eric Jocelyn drops back into the goal area. And assistant coach Judson Van Stee gets a yellow card, arguing with the referee. Now the interesting thing about Judson Van Stee, not only assistant coach, but also a referee here this weekend, so that should be an interesting conversation in the referee's dressing room later on. McGuire going all the way up to Trujillo, who's sitting near the center line. Trujillo goes for a 180 spin kick, but he hesitated. He saw Jim Weiss coming up behind him. Ed McGuire misses, and now that ball is out of play. Ramirez Tapia touches the ball. Ramirez Tapia takes a shot. Jake Bell would have been there in time, but good job by Ramirez Tapia to at least make Jake Bell work a little bit. The referee blows the whistle. 2 golden goal sessions have passed and still no score. And at this point, you have to think the batteries are starting to take a real hit. And we're probably going to see some sluggish chairs as time continues to pass. And now Arizona Heat making a tactical change. Jake Bell is going to come out in an attacking role. Gabe Trujillo is wearing the goalkeeper pinny. Ed McGuire is going to take this kick for the Heat. Eric Jocelyn back in the goal area. McGuire misses the 180 spin kick, and now Pellegrino. No one marking him at the moment. Pellegrino, let's go with the ball. Ramirez Tapia stopped driving down, so now Pellegrino's there. Matt Pellegrino looking to kick out to Ramirez Tapia. And instead, he elects to kick it off of Trujillo. Corner kick. Boston Breakers with a goal could win this match. We are in the 71st minute. Ramirez Tapia. No one there really for Boston. Now Pellegrino scoops it up. Jake Bell is going to take it out of the area. And contact on the back of Bell. McGuire goes across. Steve Hirsch hits the ball. And no one in goal for Arizona. Can Trujillo stop the ball before it goes into the goal? And he does. Oh my goodness. That would have been a tragic way to end the match for the Heat. Pellegrino, Hirsch with a shot, saved by Bell. Trujillo trying to get that ball out of there, and he does. Now Hirsch coming up. Ramirez Tapia over to Hirsch, but Trujillo taps it out of play. On court two, Tampa Thunder have just taken the lead over Glass of Chicago Fire. That ball, Trujillo taking it down the floor. And again, Ramirez Tapia needs to be very careful with his spin kicks because he's already on a yellow card. And that ball to Jake Bell. Bell, Ramirez Tapia with a shot. That ball off the back of Jake Bell. And you see the sense of urgency starting to tick up a little bit. Hirsch takes the kick. Too far in front of Pellegrino, but Pellegrino hooked by Ed McGuire. And Ed McGuire arguing right now because he says he was there first, and it was Matt Pellegrino who drove into him. And McGuire, his joystick not in the right place. Not quite sure what happened, but you can see his joystick, the armrest on his chair was out of place. It looks like he's all set and ready to go again. Pellegrino looking to go across. Ramirez Tapia is there. He's got room. Hirsch. Ramirez Tapia very close to hitting Gabe Trujillo. That ball's out of play. McGuire. Ramirez Tapia. Pellegrino. Jake Bell taking the ball. That ball's still in play. Jake Bell driving. Can Jake Bell score? Pellegrino's there. Jim Weiss is there. That ball kicked out. McGuire with a shot. Save Jim Weiss. And now desperation setting in. Corner kick coming up. Arizona Heat. And that ball rolls outside the touchline. And Referee Dave Macy sets it on the corner triangle. McGuire, can the Heat win right here? McGuire, Trujillo, Ramirez Tapia. Ramirez Tapia with the save. Now, that ball looked like it went off Ramirez Tapia, but the referees give Boston the ball. McGuire across the Bell. Jake Bell with a shot, and it's off the back of Matt Pellegrino. McGuire can't get to that ball from Trujillo. McGuire spins, and it rolls out of play. Arizona Heat kick in. That ball all the way across Jake Bell. Jake Bell with an opportunity, but Jake Bell sends it wide. Ramirez Tapia, nice stop by Ed McGuire. Now that's a 2-on-1 violation. The Arizona Heat with a chance to seal this match. Now Jake Bell screening Pellegrino. Jake Bell, the touch on the ball, but it's off the back of Jake Bell. McGuire across, out of play. McGuire could have gotten that ball more to the front of Bell's chair. It could have rolled in because Ramirez Tapia didn't really make a move on the ball. Pellegrino getting dragged around by Bell. Jake Bell almost had room there. And Hirsch hits Trujillo. Bell thought about a hit. Now Steve Hirsch sends that ball the wrong way. Pellegrino has to come up and make a play on it. Jake Bell looking to pass the ball out. Pellegrino, Trujillo. Ramirez Tapia, another 2-on-1 violation. Boston Breakers really not doing themselves any favors at the moment. And we are approaching 2 full matches here. Again, this Arizona Heat team played 3 full matches just with time alone. And MK Battery doing a good job because these batteries have held up. McGuire looking for Bell. Trujillo screening down low. Ramirez Tapia, that ball was right to him. And we have played 80 minutes. Still no score. Now, the battery issue is going to be a problem more for the Boston Breakers than it is the Arizona Heat. The Heat have at least 2 substitutes, whereas Boston has none. So the teams are going to gather around for a moment. You can see the Arizona Heat assistant coach trying to draw up a play here. A 4th golden goal session coming up. Both teams still scoreless. Hirsch. Jake Bell cuts it out and gives Boston a better position to attack the Heat goal area. Hirsch waiting for this ball to come through, and Ramirez Tapia sends it right off of Trujillo. And Pellegrino, Ramirez Tapia, that slight hesitation, we'll watch it again. You see Ramirez Tapia hesitated ever so slightly, and it was that hesitation that caused him to miss that kick. McGuire off of Jake Bell. Ramirez Tapia hits it off Bell. Bell Thought about a 180 spin kick. Ramirez Tapia hits it off of Bell. Now the clock has stopped on the scoreboard. It's currently sitting at 82. Ramirez Tapia with a shot. That rebound deflects off of him and he keeps possession. Ramirez Tapia driving. Both Trujillo and Bell are there. And so Ramirez Tapia is going to have to figure out another way to break this Arizona Heat defense. Pellegrino there. Pellegrino with a shot. Matt Pellegrino goes well wide of the post. McGuire, Pellegrino. McGuire again with the ball. And Steve Hirsch called for a foul, backing into Jake Bell. Pellegrino over to Ramirez Tapia. Ramirez Tapia misses the pass to Hirsch. Now Pellegrino heading towards the goal area. Mark Harden there. Gabe Trujillo also there. And that ball rolls out for a Boston Breakers corner kick. Ramirez Tapia, Matt Pellegrino. That ball, Matt Pellegrino touched that ball. Still in play though. Ramirez Tapia sends it back in. And Pellegrino and Ramirez Tapia hit it out of play. Ramirez Tapia winds up. Ramirez Tapia almost scored there. Trujillo left a little space between him and the post. You see it one more time. You see Gabe Trujillo pull away from the post, and very dangerous shot. But fortunately for the Heat, it didn't go through. The referee calls a 2-on-1 violation. Tapia looking to take a shot, but got nothing on it. However, they are going to get a kick in. Boston Breakers trying to unlock this scoreless draw, and any goal at this point will be the winner. Ramirez Tapia. Steve Hirsch, that ball bounces up in the air. Now Hirsch backed into Trujillo, and then Trujillo and Bell collide. Kick in coming up for Boston. Not quite sure what the delay is here. Oh, looks like The Heat are making a tactical change. Jake Bell now wearing the penny again. Jake Bell wearing his keeper jersey and then a red jersey on top of that, and now wearing the penny to change back to orange again. Boston with another chance to try to win this game. Ramirez Tapia. Trujillo sends that out. Ed McGuire now racing down the floor. Jim Weiss, can he clear the ball? Jim Weiss, that ball off of Weiss and out of play. McGuire off of Ramirez Tapia. Corner kick, Arizona Heat. Now the Heat with a chance to win this. We've reached minute 88. McGuire, Bell with a shot. Jake Bell with a breakthrough. And unlike yesterday, the Arizona Heat come out on top today. And watch Jake Bell here split the defenders. And Jake Bell secures 5th place for the Arizona Heat. Your final score after 88 minutes, 1-0. The Arizona Heat come out on top. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Premier Conference action. Turnstone Flyers, San Jose Steamrollers. You're watching the 2019 USPSA MK Battery Conference Cup Series.